welcome to Harmony. Jason Whitlock, your host, joined by the First Lady of the Fearless Army, Shamika Michelle. Shamika, welcome back to the show. Shamika, I want to start by playing a fuller video of what happened with the Cincinnati brawl, the Cincinnati Jazz Festival brawl. This is about 2 minutes and 20 some odd seconds. It's just a VO. I think we can talk a little bit over it. So I want to play this fuller. Yeah, no, this is, oh man, I thought this isn't the fuller one. This is one that's about 2 minutes. There's a video, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I saw a fuller video where it showed what happened at the very beginning, video that most people I don't think have seen. And it's the Russian white guy seems to be squared up with a black guy, I think maybe in a black shirt or something. And they're kind of going back and forth. People are trying to break them up. You can hear people in the crowd taunting and trying to promote the fight. And then things calm down. But what's interesting is like the Russian guy, the white guy seems to be into it, and it seems to be a one-on-one thing where they take what I would call harmless, feeling out swings at each other. Then things calm down. Then the Russian guy is barking back and forth with one guy in particular, and he reaches out and kind of pushes him in the face. I wouldn't call it a slap. I wouldn't call it a punch. I'd call it a hard shove in the face. And that's when all hell broke loose. And another guy punches him. Then some guy runs in from behind and punches him. But it provides further context of like, hey, the Russian guy was about this initially and then got overwhelmed by the crowd. Have you seen this video?
Yes, I actually think it's the first video in the prep sheet because that's where I watched it. So I have seen that one. And for me, as I said on Monday, I would not have had a problem with the person who was actually tapped, responding and taking up for himself, because I think that men should be able to defend themselves at all times. But for me, it's still the other people jumping in and the head stomping and the lady who was punched. I don't understand how people are justifying that. And at this point, Jason, I am so over Black. Like, this is the most pessimistic I have been over Black people, because I continue to see them make this okay and make excuses for this. And I just feel like if your skin color is going to be your entire identity and your reason for behaving the way that you do, we are cooked. We're fried. Because that should not give you more excuses than an N-word going to jail to act unseemly and irrational because you're Black. I'm so over it, Jason.
All right, so this went to another level when a city councilwoman named Victoria Parks, she's on the Cincinnati City Council, and she's, I believe, on Instagram commenting that they begged for that beatdown. Now, this is a city council person. They begged for that beatdown. And when she uses the pronoun they, she's saying the man and the woman, they begged for that beatdown. And then, because she's pointing to this fuller video that I was describing and talking about, and she says, I am grateful for the whole story. And so in her mind, the whole story justifies the beatdown of the man and the woman. I want to show you, could we put up the pictures of the woman and what she looked like in the aftermath of this? You got a city council woman, Black woman. They beg for that beatdown. I'm grateful for the whole story. And you know, black people love to say, we can't be racist, we have no power. So are we now going to, Victoria Parks is on the city council. She's a part of the political structure of Cincinnati. She has some power. She's not the president of the United States. She's not the governor of Ohio. She's not the mayor of Cincinnati, but she's on the city council. The city council has some power. Can Victoria Parks be racist? Can we quit pretending like we have no power? I know Barack Obama was president, but we have no power. I know we got black governors and I know we got black mayors, but we have no power. Could we please stop with that excuse? Your thoughts?
I wish we would stop with that excuse, Jason, but this right here is just a prime example of how illogical women can be. And I don't really want them in office in any type of leadership capacity for this reason. Where is the logic in this? And from what my understanding is, this has been an ongoing thing in Cincinnati, where this jazz festival has taken a race turn, where they want you to only shop with the black vendors or only support the black entrepreneurs. They've even complained when so-called white businesses have shut down during the festival because they promote only go to the black vendors, only support the black businesses, but when the white businesses close, well, then they're accused of being racist. So this just goes back to how this whole skin worship thing, it doesn't lead to anything good. This councilman clearly is putting her race, her skin color over logic and over good, because how does she feel like this woman deserved that? How does she even feel like this man deserved a beat down, which I would not be complaining about again if he had gotten a beat down from only one guy, because then, hey, you just lost the fight. But when it comes to multiple people stomping you and stomping on your head, I don't think anybody deserves that. So there's nothing that I could say that would actually, or anybody could say that make me feel okay about this, because I would really just have to put my skin color first. And it's such a small Mickey Mouse trite thing to put in the forefront that I can't understand how anybody is putting that over character and integrity, morals and values. It's just such simple-mindedness, but this is where we are. And then we wonder why people are constantly bringing up the IQ of black people, or the average IQ, and how low it typically is for black people, because this is what logic is to us, being illogical.
It's and this is why I talk about racial idolatry so much. And from the very beginning of this show, it's like part of my mission is trying to open people's minds to, if you interpret the world through a racial lens, it's going to lead you to illogic. It's going to make you throw away all of your values. Hey, you know what? I believe in traditional marriage. I believe marriage is a covenant between God, man, and woman. But now that you've put on this racial lens and this political lens, well, in order to be black and in good standing, I must be a Democrat. And so being a Democrat means I must support same-sex marriage. I must support the LGBTQ lifestyle. I have to support abortion. I have to throw out my Christian values in order to be black. And it's just like they've framed up through popular culture, through television, through movies, through music, that being black is the most important thing for a black person. No other, no one, well, you got to be yellow. You got to be brown. You got to prove how white you are. No other culture is just pumping that, because they don't want those other cultures, or those other cultures don't want to be illogical. They want to adhere to a set of values We've been moved away from that. And so now we're justifying, hey, Carmelo Anthony, he stabs another 17-year-old kid over a seat under a tent. Well, he's black, and so I must support it. I can't think logically. And so I'm right there with you. When I see a city council person who's supposed to be the best and brightest, and she's on the wrong side of this out of her race loyalty, I just shake my head and go, and then like, well, white people do the same thing. The white people that think like that and they get criticized, called racist. People try to avoid them. That's not the standard. It just isn't. And white people are not perfect. And you know, again, the way I ripped Tom Brady yesterday, they're not perfect. But this kind of consistent mass illogic is mind-blowing to me. And I want to give you another example. The mother of one of the perpetrators of this crime was on television getting interviewed by a news station, and I can't do justice to what she says. You're just going to have to hear it for yourself. Let's play SOT number 9.
Family members of the accused say there is more to the story. Here's what Montiana's Merriweather's mother had to say outside of court.
These Russians was walking down the street, and on the video, he said, "You want to mess with these Russians?" And he smacked the first guy, you know, but it wasn't like they thugs. My child is in school. He had 5 kids. He's on the B honor roll in school. And he's not the thug that they put out in there to be.
When I first heard that and listened to that this morning and saw that, when we talk about standards just being eliminated, my kid's on the B honor roll. He got 5 kids. He's not a this is a dude in school with 5 kids. I don't know how old he is. I don't know what's going on here. But it's been so normalized for young people, young black men to have multiple kids that they, and look, maybe he's also an independent millionaire, or maybe he's also a doctor, or, you know, he's in med school and he's got, but I don't know. That's when I saw that clip, that she could say that boastfully on television. I'm like, there's no shame, there's no modesty, there's no common sense, there's no nothing. I just, that's when I was like, it may be a wrap. This just may not be fixable, that mama's on TV, your son's on camera beating up somebody, and he's a good kid. He got 5 kids. He's an honor roll student at whatever community college that the government is paying for him to go to. He's an honor roll student. I don't know what to say, Shamika.
Yeah, when I saw it, Jason, I said the math isn't mathing. How are you an honors student, but you also have 5 children? Like, maybe she meant to say dean's list, but even at that age, college age, how do you already have 5 children? She didn't mention a wife or any other thing. So to me, I thought about when my daughter early on got a B and her dad was getting on her, and she said, well, the B doesn't stand for bad. In this case, maybe it does, because how are you even actually saying this and saying it as if it makes sense? I say there's a group of people, Jason, always offended and never ashamed. It's black women, always offended but never ashamed. How are you actually on TV saying something that makes absolutely no sense? There's no way your son can be this great guy with 5 children on the B honor roll. Like, it doesn't even make sense. But she said it so bold, so proud, and so sure. And I would go as far as to say it's because he's black. She's black, and there is no wrong in that at all. When I hear people say, I'm black first, What does that even mean? I'm black first. What does that mean? What does it mean to be black? What does that say about your character? What does that say about your morals and your values? I don't understand, but we hear it so much. I even see one of the people in the chat, he loves to say that, I'm black first. What does that mean?
It means that he's willing to defend anything a black person does short of murdering him. And maybe he would justify it if someone murdered him or someone in his family. Well, I got to support him. They're black. Maybe he would. This is, the mass psychosis, the brainwashing of black people into thinking that being unapologetically black, because I want to translate that for you. What it really means is you're stereotypically black. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. You're going to live up to a stereotype. I'm stereotypically black. I listen to profane rap music. I support any black person, regardless of no matter how immoral their behavior is. I hate white people. And if someone cuts me a check, I'll do anything. Mm-hmm. And that's, I'm stereotypically black, and they keep that. And you know, I'm on the down low. I'm sexually fluid. I'm you know, I just love everybody. This jazz festival thing, and maybe it's a psyop. Maybe, you know, these videos that we keep seeing and these incidents, are they set up? Are they being put in our face? Are white people doing the same thing out in rural areas and we just never see it? Is this the way the whole, I don't believe that. You know, it's just, it's sad. It's, and I know people are watching this and saying, you know, man, Jason and Shamika, they just want to be white. And I don't want to be white. I really don't. I want to be Christian, and I want to live around people that share my values. And if them people happen to be a lighter skin tone than me, I'm going to choose them because they share my values. And, you know, they're not going to pretend like on Sunday when I go to church, I share your values, but the rest of the week, I got to do this black stuff.
Yeah, and when you say
I can't do it.
Yeah, when you say stereotypical black, it's sad that usually means something negative. It's really sad to be considered authentically black that it has to be negative behavior. We never see someone shooting a gun or pretending to shoot a gun, standing around with his pants sagging, and you don't go online and see people in the comments saying, look at that coon, look at that Uncle Tom. They say that's being real. That's being authentically black. But you have someone like, you know, you and I, you have somebody like Thomas Sowell, that's not authentically black because he knows how to communicate and he speaks well. He's not authentically black. Clarence Thomas isn't authentically black. It's really sad that we equate black with negativity and inward behavior. We're the only race that does that. White people, everybody has, you know, so-called bad people in their group or whatever. But you don't see them saying, oh, don't talk about them. Don't talk about that trailer park trash. They're white. We are the only group of people that really embrace the negative of us and love on it and think, don't say anything bad about this because this is authentically black. It's crazy.
Last thing I'll say, that woman said, my son's got 5 babies, like she was saying, my son has 5 jobs and he's an honor roll student. That's how my son's got 5 jobs. He's an honor roll student, nothing but B's in college, and they trying to compare him to a thug. Instead, he's got 5 babies. I've heard it all. And you're just focused on, why don't you talk about, what about Brett Favre?
Right. What about the black man that stopped the white man in Walmart that was stabbing people? We get it. We got it. But statistically, where do we stand? And that's why we have so much content about what black people are doing wrong, is because there's this little 1%, whether it's 3% of black men that are causing 40% of the violence. We can't overlook that. We just can't.
Well, here's the other thing. That 3% that's causing all the problems, producing all the degenerate content, they have influence over 90% of black people. That we feel like it's our job to support that 3%. Oh, George Floyd, we got to support him. We got to build statues for him. We have to cape up for him. We have to pretend like he was on his way to turning his life around. That 3% has so much influence over 90% that's why if that 3% didn't influence 90%, didn't set the standard of behavior and what we're supposed to start, I'd leave it alone. But when I see a city councilwoman totally influenced by the 3%, and I see so many people calling themselves Christian, going to church every Sunday, that support that 3%. And I tell you, I'm not leaving myself out of this, but it's why I've just had to leave all of it alone. I used to be one of those cultural Christians that were like, yep, I'm out of church. Let me put this Dr. Dre and Snoop on and let me fall off into gangster world and this rap music. Let me just pour all this poison into my heart, into my spirit. Let me defile God. Let me just, and think it was okay. And you know, thankfully, through the grace of God and just through, who knows, fate, whatever, man, all that stuff just tastes nasty to me. It's filthy. I don't like it the way I used to. And I'm thankful for that. And I just wish it would happen for others. If God became real to them, and because that's what I think about. It's not, and I am not perfect. I struggle every day, every single day, particularly as it relates to sexual lust. Every single day I struggle. But every day I do think like, man, God's watching me. And I got to be careful what comes out of my mouth. I got to be careful with what I do. I got to try to represent myself and keep on this path. Anyway, I'm done. Thank you, Shamika. Great job as always. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll play some harmony, and we'll see you next time.
Up so divided, stop fighting and stand tall. We used to be a nation, one united. Now we're headed for downfall. God